All right, everyone, welcome to the Team Easy call. It's July 11th. I can't believe we're already halfway through 2022. I was thinking about like the end of this year and I'm like, we're almost in 2023. That's insane to me. It's so insane to me. I feel like we just started the year, but there's already been so many blessings that have happened. I know in my life and I'm sure in your life this year. But tonight I'm really excited to be with you guys and be talking about a topic that for me is common sense and makes a lot of sense. But I realized last week it's not all so common, right? Common sense is not all so common. And I was talking to a woman in our company who's actually not in Team Easy. She's in a different team, a really great team. And she is one of the fastest growing builders in the entire company. She's a firecracker. She's a spitball. And I was chatting with her and she calls me and she goes, Sid, I'm really focused on building my business 20 hours a week. Okay, 20 hours a week, every single week. But what do I need to be doing in that 20 hours? Like, what do I need to be doing? And I was like, okay, you've been around for 2.5 years. What do you think you need to be doing in those 20 hours a week? And she's like, I think I need to be doing income producing things, right? And I was like, exactly. That's exactly what you get to be doing in those 20 hours of building your business full time. And I suggest she's full time, 20 hours. Okay. So if you think you need 20 hours to work this, if you're, work a full time job, you don't, right? That's full time for her. And most likely for me and Mary Catherine, about 20 hours a week usually is full time. And I said, yes, income producing activities are exactly where your focus need to be. And I said, do you know what those activities include? And she goes, I have no idea. And I laughed and I was like, okay, babe. So I was like, I'm going to break this down on a team call. You can share this with your team. But I think it's really important because what I thought when she said that was this woman's been around for 2.5 years and she has made hundreds of thousands of dollars. She's already made $250,000, basically being complete ignorance on fire, which is a total testament. How many of you can agree? Type of 1 in the chat if that's a total testament to you that like, holy moly, the only thing standing between me and where I want to be is just being complete ignorance on fire and in massive action in the beginning, right? It's insane. So I'm going to break down income producing activities for you guys tonight because it truly is the most critical concept or skill that you can understand to be able to move your business forward. Because if you have X amount of hours and you sit down, Zach did a call about this a few weeks ago, you sit down and you don't know what you're doing with that time, there's a reason your business isn't growing. And so what do we need to be doing in these hours? And I'm going to just kind of like bring everyone back to center because there's so much craziness, there's so much distraction, there's trainings and there's books and there's the team calls and there's being on social media and like liking people's reels and thinking that feels like work. And then we're exhausted and we feel like we just worked all day because we were just scrolling on social media, right? There's making tiles for your social media and all the content for your social media. And there's all these things. But at the end of the day, to build a business, we've got to treat it like a business and keep the main thing the main thing. And the reason, again, so many of us have quit in the past, right, is because we get confused and we stop keeping the main thing, and our businesses go like this, they go down. And then we quit because we get frustrated because our business isn't growing. And so I really want to take it back to the basics tonight and not be like a rah, excited call, but really tell you guys what's up and tell you where you need to focus your energy so that you can have a really effective business. Type a 2 in the chat if that would excite you to be able to actually grow your cycles, to be able to actually rank advance your team, to be able to actually bring new people into your business. I started a little personal 90-day run for myself. And my goal in the first month was to enroll 20 people in 30 days. And I got to about 15. I wasn't like pushing super hard for the 20, but I wanted to bring in a new class. And I realized that what I needed to focus on wasn't the things I've been focusing on for the last bit of time. It wasn't the posting the perfect thing on social media. It wasn't engaging with people on social media. It wasn't even really personally growing myself. It was these 4 things. It was getting back to the basics, the income producing activities, the having conversations and focusing 80% of my energy in the small 20% of activities that are actually going to produce anything And then taking the other 20% of my time and focusing on, the making the social content and the tuning into team calls and the personal growth and the reading and all of that. But it's the 80-20 rule. And so these things are going to, I'm going to break it down for you, and we're going to focus on these things as a team really for the next 30 to 60, 90 days for yourself, if you really want to take your business to the next phase that it can grow to. So the number one thing is prospecting, right? Prospecting conversations. And what does that mean? Because a lot of people are like, well, I'm talking to people every day, right? This is not you talking to your upline about what you're going to do. This is not, right? How many of us are guilty of that? Like, oh, I'm going to do this thing. Like, that's not a conversation. You talking to your downline about what they should do is not a conversation. You talking about, what you're doing with your cross lines, people in different parts of the company, and collaborating and trying to come up with new things to do. That's not prospecting conversations, right? Prospecting conversations, these are conversations that you're having with people that is sharing the product that we offer, sharing the business opportunity, sharing the compensation plan and how people can make money, and sharing your story with people. In these prospecting conversations, if you're not doing one of those things, it's probably not a prospecting conversation. It's probably actually a connecting conversation, which you will not see in these 4 income producing activities. Now, there's a difference between connecting and prospecting. There's a very big difference. Connecting, I can do connecting all day with anyone. When I'm prospecting, it's very intentional, right? And when I'm prospecting, I'm sitting down at my desk and I'm saying, who am I asking to take a look at Isagenix today? And if I write someone down on that list and I just reach out to them and I'm like, hey, Susie, how have you been? I just wanted to check in. That's not prospecting. That's not me asking if she wants to take a look at this, right? So a lot of people are having conversations all day, but they're not actually asking those people to take a look. So it's important, in this, it's not an income producing activity, but to build relationships with people and to connect with people every single day so that you can build that pipeline. But it's also remembering that on the days that you're building your business, at the time you're building your business, that doesn't include that. It includes having those conversations, asking, hey, I know that you posted on your social media that you've been struggling to lose a little bit of weight. I would absolutely love to have a conversation with you about the products that my company offers. We've changed so many lives. I know my life has been changed because of it. I would love to have a conversation with you. When are you available this week? Oh, wow, wait, that just took me like 10 seconds. I probably could do 10 of those in a day. I could probably do at least 3 to 5 of those in a day, right? And so many people, we're connecting with all these people, but we never bring up Isagenix. They don't even know Isagenix exists, and we're assuming that they're going to just ask us one day, hey, do you have any weight loss solutions? Hey, do you know a good liquid collagen? Right? But they're complaining about their skin, and you're not even telling them that you have a business. When I think of promotion of a business, it's not you wanting everybody to be a part of it. It's making sure everyone knows you have a business. It's making sure that everyone's aware of it. And then when the problems come up, when you've built trust with people, that's when you can ask them if they're open to taking a look, right? Prospecting is bringing in that business piece. It's using the scripts and templates. I'm not going to sit on here all night and tell you exactly what to say because we already have all of that, right? We already have all of that. But prospecting gets in deeper. It gets into asking people questions about their health goals or their business goals or what they would really love their life to look like if they, didn't have to work a 9 to 5 every single day. What are their pain points? It's really going deep with people so that we can provide a solution. And, Jim Rohn, Eric Worre, all the greats always talk about it's a numbers game, but people aren't numbers, right? So what I'll say is if you're not having results in your business, you're just not having conversations. I can guarantee that because I wasn't having, and really transparently always with you guys, I was like, oh, I'm not really enrolling that many people. And I was like, wait, Sid, check yourself. How many conversations have you had in the last week? And I was like, probably 4, actual prospecting. How many of you guys can relate to that? You're like, I don't have the results. I'm not enrolling people. How many conversations have you actually had? Right? So if you ask 10 people to take a look, when you're getting started, about 2 will say yes. And a few of those other 8 people will come around eventually. If you're really good, 4 are going to start. So people are not numbers, right? We're not treating people like they're numbers. We're just going through them like wildfire. We're caring about people. But if you think about the numbers, okay, if I have 10 conversations, I'm going to enroll 2. I'm going to have 10 conversations today. Just see what happens. See what happens, right? And what I'll tell you is I tracked my numbers and I enrolled 15 people. And I believe I talked to, in about 20 to 30 days, I talked to about 160 people. So there you go. The numbers don't lie. That's 10%, right? 10 to 20%. And a lot of those people are coming around now, right? So it doesn't happen all at once, all in the beginning, but prospecting, that's the number one thing you should be doing. And I would say out of the 4 different topics I'm going to talk about tonight, that is the most important thing. That is the number one most important thing, because if you don't have prospecting, if you're not having conversations, you can't do the rest. You can't do any of the other things. 80% of energy, whether you're making $5 a week, $54 a week, $5,400 a week, or $54,000 a week, it doesn't matter at what level. Prospecting is always 80% of your efforts when you're building this business. You never get to stop that. The millionaires I know that are making the gangster money that I know a lot of us want to create in our lives, they're still prospecting. And I can tell you that because I have very intimate relationships with a lot of them. And I've realized that if you stop doing that, your business stops. But if you're, and again, guilty of this is charged, but if you're having the same 20 conversations, you're like, well, I'm talking to people, and it's the same 20 people that you originally reached out to, and you're just continuing to go back to this tiny little pond of people, this pool of 20 to 30 to maybe 40 people. And all of them already said, hey, no, not right now's not a good time. Or, maybe after the holidays or after the 4th of July or after President's Day or Memorial Day or what, the kids go to school, whatever. You've got to expand that. And that's by connecting. That's by building relationships, right? So you've got to increase your sample size. Because I looked at my current network of like prospects I had before I started this 30 days. I was like, I have no one to talk to in my warm market. Like, I have been doing such a bad job. I had to build my pond back up into a lake, right? I had to. And so I was like, I'm better start having a lot of conversations real quick. And in that first week, I think I did 50 of the reach outs, and it was just like boom, 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 boom. I just didn't stop, right? So you always got to be building the relationships. You've always got to ask people to take a look, and you've always got to be increasing your sample size. Because again, without increasing that sample size and having more conversations, you can't move on to number 2. Okay. So number 2, prospecting is number 1. Okay. And again, when you sit down, ask yourself, and even at the beginning of the week, I like to prep this out now. So it helps me on Sunday. I say, who am I reaching out to that I'm going to ask to take a look? And I make my list for every day of the week. It's Monday, I'm reaching out to these people, Tuesday, these people, Wednesday, these people, Thursday, these people, Friday, these people. And then each night before I go to bed, I look at my list for the next day. Because then when I sit down, I'm not like, what do I do? I'm overthinking. And then I get sucked into a reel, and then I get sucked into a YouTube channel about astrology, right? It's what happens. So you've got to be focused, and you've got to have it planned out, and you're going to save yourself so much time, baby. Okay. So number 2 is following up. The fortune is in the follow-up, right? You can't follow up if you don't prospect, but the fortune comes in the follow-up, because guess what? 80% of sales happen after the 5th to 12th follow-up. 80%. And only, let me tell you this, along with that, only 2% of sales happen on the first exposure. So if you think that you talked to one person and they said no, or they didn't respond, you're just done, you're like 98% of the other salespeople. Like, let's not be like that. Let's be the 2% that actually follow up with the all the people. So we have to follow up beyond the initial exposure, and we have to follow up more than we think, because people are more distracted than ever, right? So when you do that first exposure and either they don't respond or they, don't get back to you, it's okay to follow up with people and just, hey, just bumping this message up to you, or, hey, I know I let the conversation kind of slip or fall off track. I know that you had mentioned you were open to taking a look at what I shared with you. When would be a good time this week that we could chat, right? Repetition is really key in follow-up. I want to tell you two really quick stories. The number one income earner in Isagenix 1 and 2, so Michael Klaus, he was followed up with for 7 years before he started with Isagenix. And Susan Sly, who is a top 10 income earner, has made multi-millions of dollars with Isagenix, owns, I think, 9 businesses. She had 26 phone calls before she said yes. Kelly Dickerhoof had to enroll her friend Laura Stevens after she hit millionaire, because until then, Laura didn't want anything to do with it. Now Laura has created more executives than anyone in this entire company. So if you think that you're bugging people when you're following up with them because they didn't respond to one of your messages, think again. I'll give one more example. Mary Catherine had to follow up with Lanice on Instagram 7 times before she even took a call with Mary Catherine. Then we had to drive to Dallas, do an event, go into Lanice's spa, get a service. Lanice wasn't there. We left. We came back the next day for a 5-minute meeting. And guess what? Lanice has brought in over 200 people since October. Follow-up is crucial. Without follow-up, none of us would be here. How many of you actually, I mean, there might be one or 2%, I would guess, on this call. Type a 1 in the chat if you got started the very first second you were ever exposed to Isagenix, first post, first reach out. I know that wasn't me. I had to talk to a few people, listen to a few videos. I had to see it on social media a couple times. It's very rare. Okay, Jessica Kleeman, she's the 1% right now. That's great. And if it was like one post that she was like, yep, I'm in. Here's my credit card. It's very rare. It's you're not bugging people when you're following up with them. You're following through on what you said you were going to do. So again, once you ask people if they're open to taking a look, whether they say yes or no, if they say no, hey, no worries. Like, do you mind if I keep you on my list? And like, I can circle back with you in a couple months if now's not the right time. Or like, I would love to circle back with you later. Keep the relationship going, right? Provide value, comment on their stuff, just keep that relationship going. Because what I'll say is if you burn the bridge and you take it personally and then you never want to interact with them, you unfollow them, blah, 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 you're doing yourself a disservice and you're doing them a disservice because the times change, right? The people who said yes or no in 2019 said yes in 2021. 2020 changed people's lives exponentially and crazily. Things change. I said no to Isagenix like 5 years before I was approached again by somebody else in Isagenix. So timing is everything, but if you're still going to be around and you know you're still going to be around, keep showing up for people and keep those relationships going. And if people say, oh yeah, I would love more information, send me a video. Send them the stuff, follow through on that. If they don't get back to you, hey, just bumping this message. Hey, I know life gets crazy. Just wanted to check in with you again. Did you get a chance to watch that information? Hey, I would still really love to connect with you. Stop making it about you guys. When you're following up with people, if you're making it about you, you're just being selfish and you're doing a disservice to those people. And I know I can get caught in that too. But now I realize it has nothing to do with me. This is a gift. I was at a meeting with a guy who's 29 years old today. He's a bodybuilder. He's like this huge, tough dude. And he sat there and he was looking at this and he was like, this is such a gift. He was like, this is such a gift what you guys are doing. Like, I can't wait to be a part of this. But if I wouldn't have followed up with him a few times and booked a coffee meeting and reminded him of the coffee meeting so he didn't miss it, right? He would have never seen it. And now he has this hope that it's like, if we could just remember that hope that we're giving people when they finally see it, that's going to change so many more lives than us playing small and being scared to follow up with people because we're afraid we're bugging them. So stay on the forefront of people's minds when you're following up. This is relationship capital. Building long-term wealth creates relationship, or it's from relationship capital, right? The more relationships you have, the more people know that you're in business. Over time, it compounds and people come around. I had 2 people enroll this week. They went on my link and enrolled, and I asked them to take a look like 4.5 years ago. They didn't even reach out to me. They just ordered. I was like, yes. Oh, it feels so good, right? Stay on the forefront of people's minds. So number 1, prospecting. Number 2, following up. What's number 3? Anybody know? Number 3, without prospecting and enrolling, prospecting and following up, you can't enroll anyone. Enrollment is number 3. So you sit down, you have your list of prospecting, you have your follow-up list, right? And I'll tell you guys, I followed up today with all the people from the 30 days, and it was probably like a list of 40 people. It took me 15 minutes. I was just like, hey, how have you been doing? Hope you're doing well. Would love to revisit the conversation. I know we kind of lost touch. Copy paste. Easy, right? Without those two things, we can't enroll people, right? There is no enrollment. And enrollment is actually the only income producing activity if you really think about it. Because if we don't consider this an income producing activity, like who am I enrolling? We're not actually focusing on it. We're just focusing on having all these conversations. And then we never ask people if they're ready to get started. So who are you getting started on the products today? Who are you getting started on the products this week? Who's looking at the business opportunity that you have to ask if they're ready to get started? And this is in the templates, and it's literally the best question in the templates. It's, hey, do you feel like you have enough information to get started today? You have to ask for the sale. I made a post about this in the Facebook group the other day. If you aren't asking for the sale, no one's ever just gonna be like, here's my credit card, right? Some of you might, which is cool, but most people don't because they're shy or they're scared or they want you to ask them. If I'm in a sales experience with someone at any store, whatever, if they don't ask me like, hey, do you want me to package this up for you? Or, hey, do you feel like are you ready to, check out with this? I'm like, I don't respect you as a salesperson. I don't want to buy from you. I respect the skill now of asking for the sale. That's like a respectable thing. And it's scary, but usually when you ask that, they're like, hey, yeah, like I've been waiting for you to ask me. I've been waiting. And so when you sit down throughout the week, it's like, all right, who am I prospecting? New people to ask to take a look. Who am I following up with? Who do I need to close the sale with? And I hate to even say close the sale because it's like intense, but it's true. Who do I need to get the order from? Who do I need to collect the credit card information from? Right? That is the question you should be asking yourself, because if you're not focusing on that, again, you get distracted by all the minutia of the team calls and the pretty tiles and all that. We got to focus and realize that the only way anybody makes money, you or your team, is if we sell a product, right? So we kind of convince ourselves that it's about all this other stuff, but it's like, at the end of the day, we got to sell these products, people. Because if we get them in the hands of people, they're going to have a great transformation. They're going to turn around. They're going to duplicate. So enrolling people is crucial. It's the only income producing activity. It's the only thing that actually produces income into our bank accounts for you and your team. So if you're on calls with your team and you're not asking for the sale to show your team how to do it, you're doing them a huge disservice. So you've got to work on that skill of enrollment, right? And the fourth one, rank advancing. Rank advancing you and your team. So with all those other questions, you're going to sit there and you're going to ask, who am I working with to rank advance? The beautiful thing about our company is we have different bonus structures, right? We have manager, director, executive. We have 5-cycle bonus, 1-star, 2-star, all the way up to $1 million if you want. But the beauty of the company is that when we rank advance other people, we win. And so I used to get really caught up in like, what's my next rank? I got to get to manager. I got to get to executive. Instead of that, I was like, okay, what gets me to manager? It's creating 2 consultants. It's helping 2 people enroll 2 people. So who in my team can I just help to get to consultant? Instead of, I got to get to manager, I got to get to director, I got to get to executive. Who can I help get to consultant? Who can I help make their paycheck more important than my own? So if you're feeling really selfish right now, and not in a bad way, but if you feel like you can't get out of your own way, go focus on who in your team you're running to manager, 5-cycle bonus, 1-star, 2-star, 3-star, 6-figure income, right? Go focus on those people, because then it takes you out of it and it almost takes the pressure off of you. But when one of us wins, we all win. So who in my team can I grow their paycheck this week? Help them enroll their second person or their first person. Who can I reach out to and just check in on and set up a call so that we can give them their next step, right? Who can I help to create more leverage in their life, more duplication, because they said they really wanted to create that? Who can I help right now? And so I sit down at the beginning of every week and I ask myself that, who am I running with? Because if you're running solo, that's okay. You got to start prospecting, following up, and enrolling. Once you get to rank advancing, it becomes less about you. It becomes about Whose legacy can I help build with them? Whose income can I help build with them? Right? So those are the four things. Are there any questions needing clarification on those things? Okay. So what I'm going to say about this, I'm actually going to keep you guys perfectly on time. Sorry about that. Talking too much. With that, there's a few things that are not income producing activities, but very important as well. So when you sit down to build your business, these things are the main thing. If you have an hour a day to build your business, these are the four things you've got to be focused on. Okay. The four things. And if it's all you do for the day, you win. You win. And what I'll say is I've been getting up early and doing it first thing. I call it eat the frog. And I get up and I'm like, okay, who am I talking to? Asking them to take a look, sharing my story, sharing the comp plan, whatever. Who am I following up with? Okay, done. Who am I working to rank advance? Who do I need to get enrolled? And once I do that, I feel so accomplished, you guys. I'm just like, oh, if I don't do anything else for the day, I just won, and it's not even 9 o'clock. And it is such a good, or whatever, 10 or 11, whenever you wake up, Mary. It feels so good to get that done, right? And this is going to keep you guys on track. But I'm going to give you, 2 or 3 other things to also focus on that are outside of this 80% of your effort. Okay, because these things are important too, and I don't want you to forget these things. Number 1, social media is important. You've got to be on social media. But at the end of the day, don't use social media to just create magical leads. Use it as a tool to build your credibility, to build your trust, and then you start using social media to jump into the prospecting opportunity. So what I do now is I go through my likes and I'm just like, okay, who don't I know? Who's in the beauty industry? Who's in this industry? And I just start reaching out. I'm like, hey, thank you so much for supporting my page. I see we're connected. I see you're in the beauty industry. I would love to share the product that my company released last year. It's an amazing collagen, and I go into the template. And it's just such an easy way to connect because they're already seeing what you're doing. And that way I'm getting so much more engagement, you guys. So use social media to build trust. Be consistent there because it does work. It's effective. Be consistent, because if you're inconsistent, it confuses people. They're like, oh, she's talking about this one day and then she doesn't talk about it for 2 weeks. And then she's, I don't know. Stay consistent on social media. But don't make that the only thing you do for your blood. Post it on social media today. That's not it either, right? Use it as a tool to prospect and get into the income producing activities. Mary Catherine's laughing at me because I just mocked how she talks sometimes. Okay, I'm sorry. The second thing is work on yourself. I know I just said that that's not part of these income producing activities, but at the end of the day, people aren't joining for the product. They're not joining for the comp plan. They're not joining for really anything. They're joining because they trust you. They're joining for you. And if you neglect the part of you that gets to work on yourself and better yourself and grow yourself, you're going to attract who you are. And so if you want these rock stars to come into your business, go become a rock star. Okay? Like, I really want you to hear that, because when Zach told me in 2019, I was sitting on their couch and I remember I was like, I'm just not attracting really great people into my business. Like, they're just not really doing much. They're kind of low vibe. And he's like, Sid, this business is so much less about what you do and so much more about who you are. So while you're doing all this action and activity and prospecting and following up and ranking, it's great. Keep doing it every day. But don't forget the importance of growing yourself. And when I look back at that moment, that was so defining for me, because it really had me realize that, like, I'm going to attract exactly who I am. And if I want to bring in some really amazing, incredible people that deserve this opportunity, I've got to be a really amazing, incredible person. And every single day, I'm just more and more proud of every single one of you guys that's putting in that work, because I know it's not easy. And I know it can be really, really hard and it can feel lonely, but we have each other, right? And I look back at my own life and I'm like, wow, like, Sid, you're doing great. You're really, and I want you to tell yourself that you guys are doing great, but continue to work on yourself, because you really are just a magnet. You're a magnet. So if you think about that, you can make it easier on yourself because of who you're showing up as every single day. Okay. So that can happen in the car. You can listen to a podcast. You can Meditate for 2 minutes in the morning. It doesn't have to be part of your sit down, build your business, masculine energy stuff. It can be at night before you go to bed. It can be reading a book. It can be, whatever it's got to be, talking to a positive friend. But don't ever stop working on yourself, because that's going to be the biggest indicator of your business growth, is who you're becoming. And then the last thing is reconnecting to your why. And I'm just adding this right now because Lanice and Mary Catherine and I just did a call a little before this, and we all shared our whys and why we started in this business. And I realized that I don't reconnect to why I started and what was my motivating factor when I first started Isogenics, and what motivates me now. And I have my vision board. I have all my, I actually have all my IPAs written over here, and I look at them every day, and it keeps me focused on the main thing. But my vision is in front of me as well. And keeping that vision and the reminder of why I started Isogenics can also be really, really powerful. And so I want you to kind of take yourself back to the place where you started Isogenics. Why did you join? What made you excited about this opportunity? What makes you excited about it today? How is it different from when you started? Is it different from when you started? And that's going to keep you locked in, because if you can trust that why you did this is directly correlated to the income producing activities that you must do to get to where you want to be. It's just about a matter of how fast and how often you're doing them. I just gave you guys the 4 things you can do to get to your future why. Just do it more. Just do it more consistently. Just do it more often. Just do it faster. If you want to get to where you want to be, just do those 4 things faster. That's it. It's so simple. And we go to work to overcomplicate it and get distracted. But I can tell you guys, if we just keep it so simple, go back to these main 4 things every day, and then we reconnect to our why, we post on social media, right? We do that stuff consistently, and we continue to grow ourselves. There's no reason that any of us on this call can't have everything we want. I started at 22 years old with no network, $50 to my name, sleeping on a mattress. If I can do and create any result I want in this business, you guys can too. Right? We all can. And so income producing activities, it is the vehicle to get to where we want to be. So find clarity about where you're going. Get that burning desire, and then be like, oh my God, all I have to do are these 4 things over and over and over again. Master the monotonous and get to work. And then teach other people how to do it. That's it. I love you guys so much. I'm so grateful for this team. I hope that every single one of you gets to come to Celebration and makes it happen, because going to that event, I was just on a Start Ambassador call, with all the global team, and we're really, really excited about the event. It's going to be such a transformational experience, and I want every single one of you to really see why Isogenics and what it has to offer for every single one of you. So I hope that this was supportive for every single one of you guys tonight. I'm going to post this in the group. I'm going to post, what did you learn? Please do post, what did you learn? Because it's just another little movement that you can take to move your business forward, right? It's just being in a little bit of action. And then maybe even tonight, try and do like one of the things, prospect, or maybe follow up with someone. It takes 10 seconds, but just get into a little bit of action, and action creates action creates action. So I love you guys. Enjoy your night. Talk to you later. Bye.